gotten into DJing. There's not a lot of places to play. So let's buy all the production equipment ourselves and just start throwing shows where at whatever venues will allow us to.
Yeah.
Um, so that was me and my ex-business partner who started that up as Aeon Studios. We just started throwing events anywhere. Finish Line Bar and Grill out in Brewerton was one of the first places that let us do events. So that's when we started throwing small ones inside because it wasn't summer yet. And then summertime, they have an outdoor stage. So we used the outdoor stage for the first time and it went really well. So then it evolved into like, I like to make it more than just a DJ on stage. I want it to be a spectacular event, like something where you can, there's games involved. There's, also that's why we always have vendor villages. So there's art and people could buy, and we have lawn games at the outdoor ones during the summer and visuals and production. So, we try to make a whole package. So it's not like you're just showing up and there's a DJ on stage and that's all you see. There's a lot of stuff for you to do, like a mini festival, because I go to a lot of music festivals, big ones, and I always have to travel. So I'm like, we need to bring some more stuff here and grow the EDM scene more here. So there's more opportunities for local DJs and stuff.
Is it like a festival for all, or is it more of an adult focused?
It's up to the venue most of the time. So this one is 21 and up. We've done some like 18 plus, and I wouldn't mind doing an all ages. It just depends on the venue.
I figured like a summer one, sometimes outside, more for kids to do, run around.
So it's really the owner of the venues.
Sharky's probably, we don't want a bunch of kids running around.
And the same with Finish Line. They didn't want to have to deal with that either. And I totally get that. And honestly, I just want to abide by what they want to do because they're giving us the opportunity to do this. So yeah,
super excited.
Yeah,
Saturday, February 21st.
Yeah.
You got to check it out.
Getting close.
Before, we talk about everything. Nick, give us a background. Are you from the area?
Yep.
Okay.
Grew up in Syracuse, right here. Went to CNS High School. Then I went off to play football at Alfred University, kind of in the middle of nowhere. Did my years there at college. Got a minor in marketing and master's in accounting. And then came back here. Took a bit to find a job, but because my school had connections in every other place but Syracuse for some reason. But got settled in, did the public accounting grind for about 10 years, and then switched over to private and been doing accounting for Clinton's Ditch Pepsi ever since. So,
were you in Syracuse with a public company?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a smaller public firm. I worked at Bonadio first. It was a big firm. And then I had moved over to a smaller firm where I really got in the trenches, had to learn everything, essentially. Did everything from sales tax, corporate tax, audits, bookkeeping, you name it. Pretty much a little bit of everything. And I was the sole person doing audits there. So, and it was a different feel going from a big firm to a small firm, because a big firm, the audits were kept in this software they had, where now I'm at the little firm and I'm putting together a binder like this thick of, audit procedures and documents and everything like that. So, but being forced to go to the small firm really made me learn more, because when I was at the big firm, I would be given a small section of an audit to work on, where now I'm at this firm, I'm doing the entire audit from start to finish myself with my manager's review at the end. And then also everything else, sales tax, bookkeeping, all that good stuff. So
what about hours? I know a lot of accountants who go from public work some crazy hours, especially during that busy season.
That's the part I don't miss. Tax season, and with me getting more and more involved in music, it was becoming difficult during tax season. I wasn't sleeping very much. There'd be times during tax season where you're working 12-hour days, 14-hour days, depending. You go in, it's dark. You get out, it's dark. You feel like a vampire because you barely see the sun.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So, I don't miss the hours. So now it's just 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Nice. So, and it's nice to only focus on one client. When I'm at the firm, I got hundreds of clients, and now that I'm at Pepsi, I'm mainly focused on Pepsi. So, so that's nice.
Nice. So CNS football, Alfred. I actually did a football camp at Alfred
Oh,
at
did
West
you?
Tennessee. Yeah, we did one. I think going into my freshman year, and it was great. It's a
Yeah.
Hornell, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's like
close.
10 minutes, 10 minutes
Yeah.
from Mornell.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
got
the
a good buddy who's
universe.
from Hornell
Yeah,
too.
it's the university right across from the state school. So
Yes,
it's
that's right.
literally
Literally
the
right across the
yeah,
street.
yep.
Yeah.
The two schools, and basically it's what runs the town. It's so small. So
Yeah.
the closest Walmart is Hornell, which is like 10 to 20 minutes away. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, and that was fun. And we did like a trip to Six Flags, I think, like one of the days.
Yeah.
Nice little memory.
yeah.
But
It's beautiful up there in the
it
fall.
is,
The
yeah.
trees and everything like that. It's a really in the mount like the kind of mountain landscape. It's really nice up there during that time of year.
When did DJing come into the picture? Was it at CNS? Was it not till college? Was it post college?
So I had always wanted to get into DJing for a very long time. I've been very musically inclined my whole life. It kind of started, I was pretty diverse with my genres. I'd listen to almost everything except country for some reason. And then, but I was more hip hop growing up. So I like would memorize every lyric of every single song. I would know every song before it came out, collected CDs, like the actual copies, just so I had the real physical booklets and everything.
Yeah.
It was just, I was so in love with music, but I never had any friends or knew anybody that were into it in that regard to help show me the way. And YouTube wasn't what it is, where you could just look it up and pick it up like that. So I hadn't gotten into DJing. I'd say I got real deep into EDM in college. It was techno before that. So I still listen to some techno, but EDM really blossomed when I was kind of in college. And I didn't start actually DJing until 2019, I believe. Me and my buddy Alex Panic, who's on the lineup, decided let's just get the gear and let's just teach ourselves how to DJ. And that's how it became about. We just started doing live streams to have that presence that someone's watching you. So you kind of are used to being in a public setting, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we would just practice and practice and practice. And then until we got to the point where we were like, okay, we want to play somewhere. There's nowhere to really play. Let's start throwing our own shows. And
Nice.
and that's how it kind of.
What year did you graduate college?
College, I graduated my master's in 2014,
Okay.
13.
So you're there.
One of
you-
those years.
Yeah, you're in college about the same time I was.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see how much EDM exploded during that time.
Yeah.
Because I remember like getting in freshman year and there was like Bass Hunter and like a couple of
Yes,
those,
yes.
you know, the Call on Me song was popular, but it like wasn't really mainstream even.
Yep.
But then by the time, so I went to Albany first and transferred to Syracuse. By the time I went to Syracuse, my first fall, 2011, they had like their Juice Jam festival on South Campus, and Avicii came like for an 11 a.m. show or noon or whatever. It was
Yeah.
like midday on a Sunday, literally a month after Levels came out. And,
Oh,
you know, we had just started listening to it and
Yep.
it was, you know, obviously epic.
Yep.
And then like that song just ended up becoming huge. And that was kind of like, and then the whole time, the 2 years I was at Syracuse, primarily that's all I listened to was EDM.
Yeah.
And it was big, you know, for a while after it. And, you know, I don't know, maybe I've just kind of phased out, but I feel like at that time, I don't know if it's still that popular in college, but for some reason it just absolutely exploded from that like
Yeah.
2010 to 2014
That was
time
like
frame.
they say it's like the golden era of EDM. You know, that's when Plur, Peace, Love, Unity, Respect was huge at all these events. Like you would never see any sort of commotion at these events. You could run into someone and accidentally knock them over, and you know, you would help the person who knocked them over would help them up. They'd be like, "Oh, sorry, so sorry, you know, love you, man." It was just literally always love. Everybody was looking out for each other, cared for each other. It's gotten a little bit infiltrated with the, you know, commercialized crowd, but it's still, I like to say it's still holding strong. I still go to one big music festival every year. It's usually Elements Music Festival in Pennsylvania. It's like a mini Electric Forest. And it's, you know, it's closer than Electric Forest, which is why we choose to do that one. And I still have no issues. I never see really any drama, anything like that. And it's my escape. That's my vacation. And you know, it's not your typical vacation where you're able to relax. I mean, I'm running around a huge festival for 3-4 days straight camping, wearing Probably close to 100 pounds in candy. I wear about 20 necklaces, the helmet, my arms are fully covered with cuffs and bracelets. My legs are now being covered because I've been given so much trades and stuff at festivals. So yeah,
It's
I love
cool. What sold you, right? Like, obviously you started getting into it, but was there like a moment that comes to mind, you know, from being like, oh, I kind of enjoy it to like, this is my vacation, or like, I'm really, want to be involved with this. And I don't know. I
yeah.
just think of like, that was a big concert for me when Avicii, like that got
Yeah.
really got our whole, everyone I knew at Syracuse super into EDM.
Yeah.
And then, from there, I lived in Austin and they have some festivals. They have like ACL, saw Calvin Harris, which was awesome. A little later than I think when in his prime, maybe, or I don't know what you would consider his prime, but like bingo players are there. Like
Oh,
it just
bingo
gives me an
players.
appreciation for like
Yeah.
now, anytime like I hear EDM, I can really get into it. Is there anything that kind of comes to mind for you that was like, man, once I went here, I was all
Um,
in?
I had been going to raves for quite a while, and I always loved them. I just love the feeling of it, and everything like that. What introduced me to Candy and really like kind of got me in that realm was I won't forget it. It was during college. I had traveled to Me and my buddies had traveled to Rochester to go see Dada Life, and
Yeah. I
yeah,
haven't heard that name in
yeah.
so long.
We
That's
went to go
awesome.
see Dada Life, and I saw a couple people with these candy masks. They're the half face ones, so that it's not like my helmet. It's just like a little half face mask that loops around the ears. And I thought they were like the coolest looking things. I was like, that's cool. I was like, da da da. And then, a month later, I think, where Bass Nectar was playing in
Oh yeah.
Rochester. So
They were big early.
yeah,
They were big when I was
he
involved,
he
man, if
was
I
he was
recall.
pretty big. He had a
Yeah,
little
he
hiccup
was,
in
yeah.
the industry or whatever, but you know how that stuff goes. And then uh I was preparing to go to that show and I was like, I want some candy. And I was like, where do I get it? And I'm looking online and they're all the same designs online. Like, so you would be cookie cutter if you were to buy one off the one like website that was around back then.
Yeah.
And it wasn't gonna get to me in time. So I was like, you know what? I'm artistic. My mom was an artist, and I decided to go down to Hornell, to go to Walmart, grab beads and string, watch some tutorials, and taught myself how to make a mask. I made my own custom pattern, wore it to the event, and everybody kept coming up to me asking me where I got it. And I said, I made it. And they're like, next time, come with a backpack full. You'll sell all of them. And the business side of me was like, huh, okay, there's
Pay
an
for my
idea.
trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's how I got into making candy. And making candy is honestly, it's therapeutic. Like just to take something, create a design, stitch it together, and then you have a physical object in your hand at the end. It's just like a good feeling, I guess. So that's kind of how I got into it. That's the one show that really made me like dive into it. And then like what exploded me was Moonrise Festival in Baltimore. That was my first big festival with like, 20,000 people or however many go to that. And I'm walking around and just the vibes and the people were amazing. And the amount of attention the candy drew was like baffled me.
Was this your first
So
helmet?
that is not my first helmet.
Okay, I figured
It
you probably
is,
evolved a little.
yeah, yeah. There were no tutorials on how to make a helmet. I
Yeah.
kind of had to. There was one kid I had found that had made like a helmet, and I just kind of had to look at a picture of it, kind of think logically, reverse engineer it to kind of like figure out how to do it,
Hmm.
and then kind of evolve it. I still have to evolve it. I DJ in it sometimes, but it wasn't made for DJing. It was made well before I started DJing, so I need to come make my new prototype with an inner shell so that it'll fit better and won't push my headphones into my ears and fog
Okay.
up and stuff like that. So, I've done away with wearing it while I DJ for the time being until I get a new prototype made up.
Nice.
So,
Why don't you talk a little bit about like what candy is, the candy culture?
yeah.
Because that's something I didn't really know a lot about until I was, looking you up. I researched a little bit, but just for listeners, you're talking about how you got into it. Like what is it, and what got you into it?
Yeah, so candy, it's beads and string. Uh, there's different forms. So my necklace that I had in here. Do you remember perler beads? So you'd have a pegboard and you'd lay the beads down on it, and then you would put a piece of parchment paper over and iron it, and it would fuse together. They're
Yeah,
also
okay.
called fuse beads.
Yeah.
Well, you could use those to make like a flat image. So I use that for like necklaces that I make. So I'll make the chain out of the beads. Bracelets, single strand bracelets are the most famous thing in Kandi. A huge thing at festivals and raves is trading candy with people. So I have, when I go to a show, from here to about here is dedicated single strand bracelets that I have gotten traded to me from shows all over the US. And then this arm is, my arms are really full now, so I'm running out of room. But like right
Going
about
up towards your
here,
bicep.
yeah.
And
So right about here are the ones that I'm going to trade away, which have my iconic tag that actually people recognize now. So I had first started off with like, I think I did up an Excel sheet. Here's the accountant in me. And I put like my Instagram handle and then printed them, cut them all out, or no, laminated them, cut them all out, hole punched them, and put those on here. So
nice.
those were the old school style. Then I got into a custom bead, but they weren't legible enough for me. So then I found these are actually bar chips, bar tokens.
Ah,
Working as an
like the
accountant,
free drink
yeah.
tokens. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
working as an accountant, I'm doing a client's books, and I'm on their statement, and I'm like, ordertokens.com. I'm like, what is that? Because I gotta know where to categorize it. So I had to Google it, and I'm like, oh, that's where they order their bar chips and stuff like that. I was like, and then I got thinking, I was like, I could have them print my logo on one side and then do something on the back. So that's how I started using these. And now I'll go to a show multiple states away and run into someone with my bracelet on that I met in a totally different state. And it's wild how often that happens, because you wouldn't think it does, but the world is really smaller than you think.
Yeah.
But anyway, so trading bracelets is a huge thing, and I can almost remember most of the people that I had gotten mine from, because you usually have like a nice conversation when you're trading. It's gotten to the point where everybody wants a piece of candy from me at these events, so it's not as much anymore. A lot of times it's like, oh, here's a bracelet, and then I got to
Just
move
got like a
on.
huge bag of them.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. I'm just like, you get a bracelet, you get a bracelet. I just Oprah
yeah.
bracelets out all the time. Speaking of, I have an Upstate Impact bracelet right here for you. So
There we go.
I could teach you how to do the trade that happens at festivals. So when you're at a festival, it's plur. It's called peace, love, unity, respect. So you'll go to whoever you're trading with. You'll go peace, love. So you make like a heart. Unity, which is just hands together, and then respect is you put it together, and then you'll
Ah.
pull the bracelet over onto the other person's hand.
So you got to do this every time. You got a line of people waiting to do that for you.
For the most part, I have. Sometimes I skip it if I have like a
Okay.
line of people like
Yeah.
But if the people request me, like they're like, oh, I want to do the thing, I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say no unless I'm like in a rush to go see my favorite DJ or something like that. And I'm like, find me later. There's been times where like there'll be a line of people trying to take pictures with me, and I'll be like, catch me later. I was like, I gotta go see this set. Please find me
Yeah.
later. I just took pictures with like 4 people.
Don't want to
in
be
a row.
rude, but I came here to see.
Yeah, I paid a lot of money to come here, so.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Super
Yeah.
cool. Good to learn. So you got a QR code on here. Does that
Yeah.
just go to like your
Those are
social?
all my stuff, yeah. Like
Yeah.
a link tree, basically.
Nice. Do you notice you get some traction from it?
Yeah, I noticed.
I mean, if I got this, I'd be like,
I
oh,
get followers and stuff like that after big festivals. I'll bring upwards to 200 bracelets to a festival, and I try to get rid of all of them when I'm there.
Now, do you make all of them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Me and my wife.
Is that when people mostly make them? They're all pretty much custom, or do people buy them?
Some
Like
people
both,
buy them
but
online. Like,
yeah.
if I wasn't so busy with all the music stuff in these events right now, I used to sell trade packs, is what I called them, where I would make. We sit down in the candy shop and we just make bracelets. It mainly my wife, because I usually make the big stuff.
Okay.
So she'll make all the bracelets. And we'll tag them all up. And I used to sell KandiGod trade packs, which had these still on them because people have known and they like them. So essentially, they're buying a trade pack, but then when they trade them away, they're advertising for me. So they're actually paying me to advertise for me
Yeah.
in a way, but it's for people who they want to be a part of the process and the trading process, but they don't have the time or know how or want to make the bracelets. So, they go online and they look for someone else that makes
Yeah.
them. And
Do you know
I
when, like,
used to do that.
when did Plur start? Like, when did that whole thing do you even
That I don't
know?
know.
Yeah, it's
That
interesting.
I have not taken the time to look up when the first time that kind of came around. I know that Candy was still big in the 90s, possibly the 80s, but I know for a fact the 90s. Not too sure about the 80s, but
Oh, cool.
so I know it's been around for a while. I don't know if the Plur Peace, Love, Unity, Respect part has been around the whole time,
Yeah,
but Candy has been around for a while.
nice.
So
Yeah, no, this is super cool.
Mhm.
So it sounds like your goal is to try to bring as much of this to Syracuse as you can.
yeah.
And,
I-
part of this Winterfest, you've done Summerfest. I mean, how long you been doing the festivals, the Winter and Summerfest?
so Summerfest started 2023.
Okay.
Had a really good turnout. Like I said, it was in Brewerton. It's kind of out there a little bit. Right in front of the racetrack. We did like a two-stage thing, and then came back, did Summerfest 2024. It was huge. A lot of people showed up for that one, so much that the bar owner begged us to do a Winterfest, which I was a little bit hesitant at first because I'm like, it's Brewerton, middle of the winter.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to get people all the way out to
You don't think of
Brewerton.
a festival in the middle of winter, right?
Right,
You think of
right.
like a Bonnaroo summer,
Yeah.
ACL warm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did it, and we were still I like to do like two stages for my music festival, so people can kind of dabble in whatever they want. One stage might have like dubstep, for example. The other stage might have house music. So if you're not a dubstep fan, you can go over to the other stage, catch some house music, and vice versa. um and it went well. We managed to draw, I don't know, 125 people, I think, out. And it was a snowstorm that week. That
Classic.
was last year when the roofs were caving in from all the snow that was building up on everyone's roofs. That it was that time. So I was satisfied. It went really well. Everybody loved it. And then Summerfest 2025 was booked there, but they sold to new owners, and it kind of just fell apart. So we threw a replacement show for the people, called Slice of Summer out at Pump Pizza in Mattydale, which actually went really well. It was one. I had to cut it down to one stage, but we had live fire performers there who were amazing. They
Nice.
blew everybody's minds. They were out in the parking lot spinning fire, and it was a lot of fun. So
Where do you find live fire performers?
just going to all these
Oh,
events that I
you
go
have a
to,
Rolodex of people. Yeah.
I have made quite the amount of connections doing this, and quite the amount of close friend or now close friends doing this. That's what I love about it the most, is connecting with people. I'm very much see, I'm a people person and not a people person at the same time. My wife will be like, I don't get it. When you're at your shows and everything like that, you'll talk to anybody, but you won't call and order pizza because you don't want to talk to anyone. I'm like, hey, I don't know. Sometimes I have my moods. Yeah, I don't know, But yeah, I've met, production people, sound people, LED video wall people. ZPL Lighting does an amazing job with LED video wall and lasers. CA Sound, amazing job with sound. So we've built a little team in a sense. We all want this to thrive here. We're all looking for the venue that we can call home. Thanks to Lenny Mad Hits hooking us up with Sharkies. Hopefully
Nice.
that could become a place where we can do stuff more often. It's a great venue.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, so that's basically what it's kind of been. It's trying to find the right venue to call home.
Yeah. Awesome. This episode is brought to you by Renewal by Andersen of Central New York, the #1 window and door company in America. Winter is coming, and there's no better time to upgrade. Their energy efficient windows keep warm in, the cold out, and your energy bills low. Schedule your free consultation today by clicking the link in the show notes. So you, as a DJ,
Mhm.
what type of music? I mean, obviously we know the type of music you play, but like, are you all original? Do you play other people? I mean, I think everyone covers a little bit, especially in EDM, different beats and things like
So
that. Like what, when you think of like your style as a DJ, who do you kind of model that off of?
So I have 4 DJ projects. two solo projects, two duo projects. My main project is the KandiGod. That is house music, about tech house, G house, and it's kind of modeled after my biggest inspiration is James Hype. Just became infatuated with his mixing style. He is very complex, does technical transitions, a cappella play, things of that nature. And I've always loved being able to combine multiple different qualities of different songs to kind of create a new one in a sense. And especially using acapellas over other tracks and things of that nature. So you're almost like live mixing a brand new song of your own. And I do produce as well. I have officially released two songs. I got about six in the works between collaborations and my own. Currently, it's trying to find the time
Yeah.
with everything I'm
Got a few
doing.
things going on,
Yeah,
for
because
sure.
production takes a lot of time, and with all these events and everything like that, it's been hard to really hone in and try to make more of my own music.
Do you enjoy that?
Making music,
Yeah, like
I
what do you
I,
enjoy the most? You know,
I
obviously you want to
do. So,
prioritize what you enjoy the most.
right, and I love making music when I have the time to do it. I absolutely love DJing. I don't know what it is. I just love mixing songs and I love the gear. That was the biggest thing when I started DJing is I wanted to know what every button on the board did because I have all these ideas in my head that I want to accomplish, but if you don't know how to utilize the board, you're not going to be able to do those ideas. So I saw it as the board is an instrument. It's not just a piece of gear or whatever. It's an instrument. You could play it like an instrument. So I wanted to know every aspect of it. I studied boards for hours and hours and hours and hours online, learning what every aspect of it did. And so yeah, I love DJing the most, but I know you're not going to go as far unless you're making your own music. So I do know that there is a big importance to the production, and be quite honestly, I wish I could do it full time, and then I would be producing all the time. But
Yeah.
until that point comes, I'll do it as much as I can.
DJ's your favorite. What's your ideal setup or venue or event that you're getting hired for? Like, you think back to, or is it, do you prefer a festival style? Do you prefer a party style? Like, or whatever, you enjoy both?
I think it kind of depends, but I do like the festival atmosphere a lot more. There's
mean,
just more
I could tell.
more people around,
Yeah.
more people to talk to. But I do like the smaller, intimate party styles as well. We do monthly events. One of them is at Electric Karma in Destiny USA Mall.
Okay.
We do a free event there once a month. We got one coming up February 28th will be the next one. And then March 21st will be the one in March, where I use it. It's kind of my residency. They kind of asked me to bring EDM there, and they really only wanted me to DJ there. And I was like, well, you know what? I have a plethora of DJs that I've met and are on my events. So I was like, what if I have like 2 to 3 DJs play before me, and then I'll play at the end or whatever. This way we're mixing up. I'm trying to mix in as many of the local DJs as possible to let them get in front of people, let them get
share the love.
exposure and things like that. And it's just more fun when you got more people. I don't want to go up there and DJ for 6 hours or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like I'd rather
You enjoy it, but can be.
I'd rather walk
that's a lot.
around and converse with all the people and the fans and the other DJs while other DJs are up there getting down, and then I can close out the night and go from there. So those are also extremely fun, I think, myself. But even though they're smaller and stuff like that, I try to bring as much production as I can to still make it look like awesome. Like it's not just a bar or whatever. So
have you had any like terrible situations as far as like going to an event and being like, oh man, that was tough?
I had one terrible situation, which was kind of like out of our control and out of the venue's control, is where the bathroom backed up in the middle of an event and overflowed into the dance floor. So we had to cancel the event,
Like
obviously.
mid event.
Mid event, we had to cancel.
Were you just out there like?
Oh, it smelled bad. And luckily, that was one of our free events. It wasn't like a winter.
You didn't have to
Yeah, I didn't have to
refund
refund
tickets.
anybody. I didn't have to deal with any of that stuff.
So it was an
but
indoor venue.
That was indoor, yeah.
Yes, and it just flooded. Oh god,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah, that was a little rough. I had a scare for Winterfest at when it was at Finish Line, and it was the year where all the snow and all that. Well, the people who plowed the parking lot pushed it all up against the outside wall of the building, and the back room was our main stage room. And I go back there the day before to do some pre-planning, pre-setup, moving around, and there's standing water in the back room.
Oh,
Not the whole
jeez.
back room, but in the corner. And that's the corner where I was making a VIP area for all the DJs to sit in before their sets and
Was
stuff
it
like
gonna be a
that.
pool?
And yeah, and I'm
VIP.
like, so I had to get out he had this, I don't know, pump thing. I had to get that out, start pumping it down the drain and mopping it up and that's what people don't get is the amount of work I put into the events and the people that help me is astronomical. I don't think people really realize the amount of work that go into these. For example, just for that Slice of Summer event, I was at the venue for 24 hours. Me and ZPL Lighting did not leave there until 6:30 in the morning from breaking down his video wall and everything else. We got torrential downpoured on at 5 a.m. And, by the time we were done, the sun was up. I made a joke to him. I was like, hey, should we just go get breakfast now? So it's a lot of work. Even just the planning. I put together like 10 to 12 page event briefings and send them out to all the artists and everything. Contracts, offer letters, like all that takes a lot of work. The graphics, my buddy does all the graphics at Neon Grove Studios. So there's a lot of planning that goes into these, and I do it for the fans, and I do it for the DJs that I've met and stuff like that. I like to just give people opportunities. I wish someone was out there giving me opportunities. So like I like to give back to anybody I can because there really isn't many people doing events. There's a select couple groups that are doing EDM style events in Syracuse right now. So
Yeah, it's like being selfless, but selfishly in a way.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you
yeah.
do that because you're like, yeah, it'd be great. I'm going to give it out. Hopefully, I
Yep.
get something back. And that's, I
Yeah.
think, a great way to kind of go about, especially something like this, because you clearly love it, but
Mhm.
it can be a grind, I'm sure, at times. Talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
you're there till 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think people, most people understand that at a certain point that even when you're doing something you love, like it's not always that you love it.
Yeah.
It's rewarding enough that it keeps you coming
Yeah.
back.
What does it for me is seeing everybody's face when they're at the event and everyone's just extremely happy and like wowed and amazed. That's what really does it for me. Another example is that when I was there for 24 hours in the morning, I showed up to weed eat it was not a fully paved lot next to the place, so there was like weeds kind of everywhere, and I wanted it to look really nice because that's where the vendors were going and the lounge was going and the fire performers. So I was there I brought my weed eater and my goggles on, weed eated the
Throw
whole
this
like
thing on,
parking lot.
right?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's just things like that people have no idea that I'd be out there doing,
Yeah.
trying to make these events happen. So
Oh, that's awesome. Think about in like 5 years, right? What's your goal, right? What's the goal? You're doing what you love. Obviously, I think the journey is the destination, as they say, in a way, right? You're
Yeah.
just enjoying, every time you get a chance to go out to be in those type of festivals, those type of events. But ideally, in 5 years, like, what's the plan? Like, what would you like to see happen, for you, for the scene in Syracuse, maybe all the above?
I'd love to see the scene grow and potentially get some new venues, particularly more club-esque venues. We don't really have many clubs around here where if you're going to Philly or New York or any of those places, there's always EDM events going on, multiple a weekend at different venues, and the venues are amazing. And I just don't feel like people think that it could thrive here. I always tend to think that Syracuse was always a little bit behind on the music. I feel like we're still kind of stuck in the hip hop realm, which is fine. I love hip hop, but it ain't classic old school hip hop anymore.
True.
I don't think the lyrics are there anymore. I've lost interest in some of the newer stuff. There are artists that wow me still lyrically, but I'm a lyric kind of person. I don't really like a good beat with nonsense
Yeah.
talked over it. So, it just seems that downtown is all that for the most part. There's no EDM specific places down there, which in a kind of a good thing because I don't really want to be downtown in this day and age. You hear all the commotion that happens down there, all the drama. I kind of like to stay away. We've done uh, a couple events down there, and it's just it's difficult. There's nowhere to park to unload all your
Yeah.
equipment, things like that. And that's the other problem. A lot of these venues we're doing stuff at, we have to bring sound and production and all that kind of stuff. It would be nice to have a venue that just has sound built in, has production built in, and we're just showing up and providing the party. So more venues, and then in 5 years, pretty soon, me and my wife are probably gonna trying to have a kid. So it's gonna be me trying to balance this, being a father,
Some
and
Candy kids.
yeah, some candy kids that I can start teaching DJing young because I wish I had gotten into music way younger than I did. Um, so if they're into it, I would love to mold them and you know show them the ropes on how music works, how DJ equipment works, and all that good stuff. And maybe have a big festival come here one day. I don't know how much details I want to give publicly because it's a idea I've had since college, and we'll just say it's a it would be a massive music festival held at the New York State Fairgrounds.
It's a
And
good venue for it.
I feel like it's needed. I
And it
mean,
sits vacant for so long
right,
during the
exactly. Nothing's being done with it, and I mean, I don't really care. I want to call it Candyland Music Festival. Obviously spelled Kandi for candy. Have candy incorporated in some way, but also have the entire festival kind of laid out like Candyland the board game. So like the main stage, a big giant gingerbread house stage, and like a candy cane type forest and all that good stuff. It's an idea like a 3-day camping music festival, and I'm in works of putting like a business proposal together, and I just have to find the right connection to really propose it to see if it could go anywhere. But I feel like it has traction. I mean, we're close to a good amount of big cities that I guarantee you people would travel from there to come here. I mean, Rochester, Buffalo,
yeah.
Albany, Canada
I mean the whole
is huge
Northeast.
in that scene. So, and there's not many that are really close, not really like big music festivals. I mean, I always have to usually travel a minimum of like 3.5 hours to go to one for the most part. That's like the closest. So I mean, like just to go to something like Electric Forest, I think it was like a 12-hour drive or something we did, and I mean, that's just rough, especially when you're going there to party for like a week and
Yeah.
then drive back. So nowadays it's easier because I don't drink alcohol anymore. But back then, you'd be drinking
Pounding
and
headache on the way
everything
home.
for a week, and then you got to drive 12 hours home. At the after breaking down your entire camp setup in
Yeah.
the blistering heat.
Yeah.
So
That's
you know,
tough. If someone were to come to you and say, Nick, we want to do this, we need you to run it, you're pretty confident you could do it? That you could set that up for, upstate New York, having something of that
of
scale
that scale,
at the fairgrounds
I'd
and make
probably,
it a success?
if I had the right person to help, maybe.
I say,
I
but if that's a big thing, right? Finding the right
that's
people to partner
big.
with to help you
Yeah,
get
because
there.
there's a lot more to that scale than you would think than something like this. I mean, that's like crazy insurance policies, the vendors you're working with, the headliners are not cheap. So
Yeah.
you need a budget, and which I could do budgets and things like that because I'm an accountant. But I would love for the opportunity. But it'd probably be more of I'd like to propose it to a company that has done it before. So maybe like Pasquale Rotella, who does like EDC and things like that. For example, this is just an example. Kind of pitch it to them,
Be like the
and then
local
kind
guy on
of
the ground.
yeah, and kind of like collaborate on the event.
Yeah.
Like they can kind of teach me the ways of how that scale works, and I can bring my creative ideas, because that's what I love, is just coming up with creative new ideas for these events, different things to do, different things to wow the attendee and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
um
One thing I think of too is, I don't know if you'd be open to it, but I could even see that just being more of like a kind of a general music festival
yeah.
where it's not, has plenty of EDM, but
Yeah.
also, a bunch of other artists. I mean, it's big enough. You could
Yeah.
put how many stages at the,
I
state
know.
fair? Like,
But a few, and the whole expo center.
yeah,
Which
exactly.
which is
Yeah.
completely separated, so it could
Yeah.
be its own whole vibe in there. So
And then you could just draw, I think it would just draw that many more
yeah.
people, when you kind of brought in the music scene.
Yeah. And
That's a pretty good idea. I like that.
they sometimes will mix in like a few hip hop acts and jam bands to a lot of
Okay.
these festivals. Like at Electric Forest, there's jam bands there. There's sometimes some hip hop acts and stuff like that. So at Elements, they have this really cool thing. For some reason, I can't remember the name of what they go by, but it's in the Frick Frack Blackjack area, which Frick Frack Blackjack is literally open till like 7 in the morning. And you go and you can gamble with like items, like like bartering items, like
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I got this coaster, like, and bet this coaster and bet the bracelet and all that kind of stuff. And it's a whole community, and it's so awesome watching them do stuff. But they have like this band that performs like late at night, and they use instruments, but they also use like power tools as instruments. Like there's a guy who's got like a grinder, and he's grinding to a beat on this thing, and sparks are flying. And then they
That's
had this
awesome.
guy with like a saxophone that is blowing fire out of the saxophone when he plays. It was just like a really unique, cool, vibe. So like
That's
stuff
sweet.
like that, having stuff like that there too is really fun. One thing that I really like with Winterfest is this, where are they? Nezra back-to-back Victor gig. So the way they do their set is Victor Gig will tie in a guitar and do some live guitar riffs over the DJ mixing, and they'll mix it in. So like
Nice.
that's something dynamic and different and cool that I like to bring to events. Like when I heard that they used to do a duo project like that together, and I was like, oh my God, you have to do it at Slice of Summer. And they did it at Slice of Summer, and everybody absolutely loved it. So I was like, you guys want to bring it back for Winterfest? So I was like,
Yeah.
everybody loves that stuff. So
That's sweet.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
Well, Nick, before I let you go, you got to
Yeah.
show us how the helmet works.
yeah,
Let's see it.
bad boy
Get a good
on.
view. Now, what's it say on top?
This says Moonrise,
Okay.
because I originally made it for Moonrise Festival a long time ago. So my logo, which is, modeled after this, it says TKG here. I just haven't remade this yet, and it's autographed by so many DJs. I don't know if I want to give it up yet. So, and then the dreadlocks, it also lights up. I don't know if you'll see it in here with the lights on, but
That's great.
so yeah, the problem with this is my mouth doesn't fully line up for where the ventilation is. So
Okay.
when I'm DJing and I'm breathing really heavy, this fogs up, and then it's kind of muscle memory. I can't really see the buttons on the
You
decks
just
that
gotta-
well. So I'm like, all right, I know this button is over here somewhere. I was like, I can still make it happen. And then, so I had these dreadlocks, and I started making a dreadlock for every festival that I've been to. So they
Nice.
have the festival names like actually in the dreads here, and I still have a bunch to add to it, but I'm kind of running out of room. But yeah, that's the helmet. This, believe it or not, starts with one bead and string, and it gets stitched fully together, and then I have to like wrap it around, connect it in the back, sew the lighting in the inside, and that's why I need a new prototype. So if there's any amazing 3D printer people out there, I need somebody to 3D print me an inner shell that I can solder. I'll pad the inside of that, solder the lights on the outside of that, and then I can put this bead casing over the top, and then I can actually swap out skins because, like I said, I have 4 DJ projects. One of them is the Kandi Devil. So I have the TheKandiGod, which is house music. The Kandi Devil is dubstep. Then I have a duo project with Alex Panic called House Hooligans, which is kind of like a G House type of thing. And then I have a brand new duo project I started with a really good friend, Devin. He used to go by Dez. He just retired his solo project, and we go by Goblin Cartel now. And that's kind of like more dubstep, fast paced, bouncy, really
Nice.
high energy type stuff. So
Yeah. Well, that would make
So,
it
yeah.
easy. So if someone is good with a 3D printer, how are they reaching out to you?
you can
Instagram?
DM me on Instagram at the TheKandiGod. It's TheKandigod. That'd probably be the easiest way. Or the TheKandiGod at gmail.com, one of the two. But I would love to make a new one so I could finally DJ in it full time instead of like, I can do it. I just suffer, you
Yeah.
know, like, and I don't like to have to take it off, wipe my lens, put it back on. I feel like it's distracting to the audience.
Yeah.
And I always am a firm believer of you want to give off the energy you want back. So I always try to make sure I'm giving off just great energy, high energy.
Not that foggy
'cause
goggle
that's
energy.
yeah, not that. Hold on, guys. Okay, we're good again. Let's go again. You know, so.
Well, Nick, appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
Best of
thank
luck
you
with
for having me.
Winterfest. And
Yeah.
it was great to, learn a lot about what you're doing, about the scene here in Syracuse. And
Yeah.
like I said, good luck with the events. Love to check one out.
Yeah. We'll comp you a ticket. So if you want to come,
Oh,
let me
appreciate
know.
it.
I'll
Okay,
send you a
cool.
ticket.